It's agreed that killing innocent people is pretty evil to do during war. So can we agree that Hamas killing innocent Israeli citizens is pretty evil, and the Israeli government killing innocent Palestinian civilians pretty evil? Both are committing crimes in this situation here.
The Israel-Hamas war stoking protests across the U.S. at various college campuses. In the Northeast, a pro-Palestinian demonstration at Brooklyn College. And at Columbia University, massive crowds as supporters of both Israel and Palestinians held competing protests. Columbia, open your eyes! In the nation's capital, American University students gathering in solidarity with Israel.
The horror has reached an unimaginable level.
While supporters of Palestinians made their presence known.
It's scary. I mean, I walked up here with my flag on and I instantly took it off because, you know, people are telling you to be careful.
At UNC Chapel Hill, tensions boiling between supporters of the two sides. Arizona State University Students for Justice in Palestine holding a rally today outside the Student Union, one day after the school's Hillel Jewish organization held a vigil in support of Israel. The school acknowledging the distress and concern caused by the week's events in a statement, but some Jewish students say it doesn't go far enough.
There was no real statement saying what happened was wrong, which I think is stressing out a lot of the Jewish students.
A war of words also playing out in statements from student groups and university's leadership. The University of Florida president issuing a viral statement saying in part, quote, "There is no defense for terrorism. This shouldn't be hard."
Yeah, no one ever defends, like, terrorism, but why is it when some governments commit terrorism, there's always a blind eye to it? I mean, yes, we can agree that the attacks by Hamas on innocent civilians was terrorism, but let's again agree that the attacks by the Israeli government and the military on innocent civilians in Gaza is terroristic as well. They're war crimes. You don't kill innocent people.
NYU Law Student Bar Association president possibly out of a campus title and future job offer at a law firm for writing "Israel bears full responsibility for Hamas's attack" in a weekly bulletin, leaving some of the school's Jewish community on edge.
I've honestly been avoiding campus. I didn't go to class this afternoon.
The Student Bar Association voting to start the president's removal process as a result, and NYU condemning the terrorist attack on Israel in a statement. At Harvard, its Palestinian solidarity groups initially releasing a joint statement holding the Israeli regime entirely responsible for all the unfolding violence.
Yeah, where is the condemnation of the Israeli government with, like, laying siege to an entire city and killing like 1,800 innocent civilians? I mean, a lot of kids have died by the Israeli military, but it's like there's a blind eye being turned to it for some reason.
At the end of the day, this is a group that seeks the destruction of the Jewish race, and it's not the right time to be issuing a pro-Palestinian statement.
Backlash quickly ensued.
Okay, you can support Palestinian people and them, like, having independence and, like, not being occupied by the Israeli military, while at the same time supporting the Israeli government and actually fighting Hamas terrorists and, like, not, the Israeli government killing innocent Palestinian people. I mean, you can do both. You don't just have to support one or the other, It's not either you support, Israel or just support Palestine, but you can support both while criticizing Israel on their war crimes and Hamas, which is separate from Palestinian people, on Hamas's war crimes.
Professor posting a photo of a truck driving around campus showing photos, which he redacted, of some of the students who signed the statement. Some groups formally apologizing and retracting their signatures, while over 4,000 members of the Harvard community signed a counter statement.
There's a lot of tension. A lot of people have missed class.
Harvard's president condemning the terrorist atrocities perpetuated by Hamas, emphasizing that the student body does not speak for Harvard University.
I feel like Harvard very visibly and loudly stood by Israel, but I don't hear the same frustration for the blood that's been shed for the Palestinians.
Students.
Yeah, where is like the support for the Palestinian people who have been killed, the innocents that have lost their lives just because the Israeli military is fighting a terrorist organization, situated within like Gaza or wherever. I mean, yes, the Israeli government is allowed to fight against threats against the government and the people living in Israel, but that doesn't mean they get to kill innocent civilians, because killing innocent civilians, again, is a war crime.
Across the country, wondering whose voices will be loudest.
In war, the only time it is not considered a war crime to kill a person is if the person is a military combatant and they pose a threat to you. If the military combatant drops their weapon and surrenders, you are not allowed to kill them because they're an unarmed person and pose no threat. So if you kill an unarmed combatant, you commit a war crime. If you kill civilians, you commit a war crime.
Valerie Castro joins us now from our studios in New York. Valerie, with so many demonstrations around the country there, are there concerns that things could become violent? We know a former Hamas leader has called for Friday to be a global day of anger. Is the NYPD doing anything to prepare for that possibility in New York?
Well,
can we stop also equating like all of like the Palestinian people with Hamas? Just because a person is in Palestine, born in Palestine, or somebody like supports Palestinian people having like freedom from occupation, doesn't mean they also support Hamas. It would be like saying that just because somebody is a Christian, that they're a Nazi or part of the KKK. Those are two different groups of people. One's a terrorist group, and one isn't a terrorist group.
Listen, we should say for the most part, the protests and rallies, though they have been tense, they have remained relatively peaceful, or at least without any major violence. But an NYPD spokesperson tells NBC New York that all officers will be in uniform tomorrow around the city, and there will be added patrols in key areas, including schools and houses of worship, as a precaution. New York Governor Kathy Hochul spoke just within the last few hours at a press conference. They were discussing plans to ensure the safety and security of New Yorkers. She had some very strong words. Take a listen.
I want all New Yorkers to feel confident going to a synagogue, going to school, walking to the streets of New York and throughout our state over the next few days. And those who seek to use Hamas's violence as justification for violence of their own, we have no tolerance for your hate.
Right, because Palestinian Americans are going to attack Jewish Americans when that is like so common in America, when it's not in reality. Like actual Christian Nazis are the ones attacking Jewish Americans in America. Like, dude, come on here. Can we like stop trying to pretend that like all Palestinian people are like these anti-Semitic people when it's just a small group of people? that are fighting the Israeli government. Like, not everybody in Palestine is against like Israelis. There's a lot of Jewish people and Palestinian people that are actually like dating or married or have families or friends and stuff like that. So it's like, come on, let's stop pretending that all the Palestinian people are like these extremists. It's not like all Jewish people are the extremist right wing when there is a good sector of people in like the Israeli nation that are right wing and extreme. But you also got the left wing people that just actually want peace.
Condemn violence of every kind in New York. And I want to be clear. When I say every kind, that's exactly what I mean.
The governor also went on to condemn any hate directed towards Palestinian New Yorkers, saying, quote, a community that is cherished and respected in our state. It's important to note the
Oh, okay, good that she also said that there should not be any violence directed towards Palestinian Americans by Israeli Americans because, I mean, and America, like both sides, honestly, shouldn't be fighting each other. They should be uniting in their efforts to find a, or to help Israel and Palestine find a two-state solution, because in all honesty, that's the only way that these nations are going to be able to coexist. I mean, it's like honestly childish to think that there can only be one state, and I know the right wing in Israel only wants a one-state solution because they're right wingers. That's what right wingers want. No matter what nation you're in, when you have a group of right wingers, they want one thing and only one thing, an entire nation of right wingers.
The NYPD says it has not received any new specific or credible threats. Similar security measures are being taken in other large cities around the country, including around the D.C. area.